What's going on, YouTube? Got another build guide for you here today, and it is the Poison Cyclone Pathfinder. The build's been a lot of fun, super laid back. It's just kind of spin to win, and things just poison and die. It was able to do all the Ubers, and so far, we're almost done with most of our challenges here. We did all the Uber ones and stuff like that. Now I just kind of have to do these kind of random ones where I just need to spend some currency and stuff like that. But it's been able to get us through the entirety of the game. It's tanky. It's got good damage. It's a really fun build to play, and I hope you guys enjoy it if you go ahead and give it a try as well. But with that being said, we have pretty good survivability, and as far as tooltip, we're at 80% physical damage reduction. This is probably closer to 70 in POB. Then we have a close to 50% chance to evade, 100% spell suppression. We have all our resistances. We're almost capped on chaos res. We are immune to stun, all elements, and poison. So there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of moving pieces to make all this work. But as you can see just from tooltip, we have a lot of defenses, and then we have really nice damage, which you would have seen from the clips at the start of the video. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I'll explain leveling. As far as leveling, what I actually used Rutu's Poisonous Concoction to level. I didn't think I was going to play this league, and I decided like 3 minutes before the league started, so I needed to kind of scramble to find something. I wanted to find something that would be that I could easily transition into something that I wanted to try, which was a Poison Cyclone. And this is what I went with, and it worked out really nice. This is one of the easiest leveling I've ever done. So I will put this link in the description, but he has everything you need. So you can start at level 12, 28, 68, and you just kind of keep going. When you're ready to make the Frenzy swap endgame, if you have the money, you can swap over to Cyclone because you're going to need a few pieces. And then if not, feel free to kind of slowly swap into it while using Rutu's Poisonous Concoction. This build's super easy, super smooth. Super fun leveling, and if it's your second character, it was super easy to league start with it. So if this is a second or third character, it's gonna be, and you have some uniques and stuff to level with, it'll be an absolute breeze. But again, I'll go ahead and put that in here. He's got endgame trees. He's got endgame items, all that, or tiered items, and when to make swaps and stuff like that. So leveling, this is fantastic, and I'm just go check out his channel. I'll link his channel in the description. I'm sure you all know who he is, but I just use this, and like I said, I kind of just, once I got into the frenzy version of this, I slowly started to switch over. If you have money, you can just make the switch instantly and buy the stuff that you need. So I'll also include my POB, but we'll go over the build first. We'll kind of start with the gear. As you can see, I am on Mage Blood. I do have some alternatives down here that we'll go over, but obviously Mage Blood, this late in the league, you may or may not have one yet, but don't worry, you actually get more damage out of Oselia's Delight. It's just, you lose some resistances and movement speed and kind of stuff like that, but damage-wise, this is a better belt. So anyways, sword, this is the new sword, the Echo Forge. I managed to, no one was really using these, so I tried divining a bunch, and and I got some pretty good rolls and stuff like that, but I ended up buying this for like 6 or 7 divines unlinked, and then went with that. This is a really well rolled one, but this sword's a lot of fun. It's a pretty cool item. Next we use the new Betrayal Sting, which gives us some chaos res, some movement speed. I actually corrupted this to cannot be poisoned, so this is how I managed to get my poison. Otherwise it is physical damage, but we can't do any physical damage since we use Echo Forge, so that's kind of a free corrupt that you can get on here. And then obviously the big line on here is 45% chance to inflict an additional poison when you inflict a poison. So that just gives us basically a 50% chance to apply 2 poisons instead of 1. So that's really nice. And then with Chaos Catalyst, you can get it up to 47. I think mine wasn't perfectly rolled, but pretty nice. Basically a 50% chance to apply 2 poisons, so pretty sweet. And then we use Snakebite, which this is a pretty nice one, plus additional frenzy charges, and then socketed AoE, which gives us, attack speed, accuracy, and then a bunch of physical damage over time multiplier for poison based on our frenzy charges. We generate frenzy charges because we use replica Feral's fur, so this gives us aspect of the cat for free. You do need to put it somewhere. You can put it on boots, ring, or amulet. Any of these three things you can craft it onto. But that gives us also onslaught and all that kind of stuff. I should have said this at the start, but we want attack speed. We're basically trying to get as much attack speed from every source that we can possibly get. So we get rage, we get onslaught, we get all that. We stack a bunch of it. We get frenzy charges. We get additional attack speed with frenzy. So we're just trying to scale as much attack speed as possible to apply as many poisons as quickly as possible. That's kind of sums up what we're trying to do here. And then boots, this is where we get, since we use so many uniques, resistances can be a bit of a problem. So with jewels and rares, we get our resistances, and then attributes are also a little bit of a problem. So you need attributes and resistances all over your gear and stuff like that. That's really kind of the big issue with this build, is making sure that you have all that stuff sorted out. But again, boots, this is where we have our aspect of the cat, and then we just do, damaging ailments faster, poison, and movement speed. So again, nothing crazy there. The ring, I found these poison duration is kind of what I was looking for, and then I also just happened to find it with chaos damage, but poison duration is really what I wanted. And then I just used Essence of Delirium to get damage over time, and then I just wanted a bunch of mana regen, life, stuff like that, just things to kind of help me maintain my mana. Then amulet, this is one I crafted and I got semi-lucky on it, and also, unfortunately we hit the 1% damage per 15 strength, which doesn't really do us a lot of good, but the rest of the things are really nice. Mana regen, life, attack speed, chaos dot, and then we use sovereignty as our anoint, so this is a pretty nice amulet. There are other options as well. You could use replica badge of the Brotherhood or something like that if you wanted to. But you would probably have to lose an aura somewhere, just because that malevolence mana res is pretty helpful. As far as helmet, this is another one we crafted. We basically just spammed mana res essences until we hit suppress, and then we got lucky and hit a good resistance on it, and then suffixes cannot be changed, veil, and then we AoE gems and life. AoE gems isn't super important. And if you're running auras in the 6 link like I am, but early I was running them in the helmet before I had +1 to socketed gems and stuff like that. So getting in the auras is a bit of an issue. This is this version of Replica's Feral's Fur is expensive. The +1 to socketed gems, because that makes our Enlighten go from a 4 to a 5, so we can squeeze in an extra aura. But you don't necessarily need that yet. You can kind of work in auras and stuff as you're going. We use a lot of them. We use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 auras, so we have mana res all over everything. As far as skill gems, let's kind of go over that. We go Cyclone, Awaken Deadly Ailments, Void Manip, Fortify, Awaken Added Chaos, and Unbound Ailments. What I am going to try to do eventually is buy a bunch of these Echo Forges, get them divined to a reasonable level, and I'm going to go double Corrupt and try to get Fortify on my actual sword, and then I will replace Fortify with something else. I'm not sure exactly what yet, but another damage dealing skill gem. But for now, Fortify is really good. You get damage and defense. It's pretty good for dot, so we're fine with it for now. Not a big deal, not a priority, but something I might do to kind of min max at the end of the game is try to get Fortify or something on there. And then we have, so that's our Cyclone. In our body armor, we have Flesh and Stone, Clarity, Malevolence, Determination, Purity of Elements, and a level 4 Enlighten. And that just, allows us to run all that. In Helmet, we have Precision and a level 1 Vitality. It's up to level 3 because we have socketed AoE gems, but this is because of our Watcher's Eye. If you don't have and we'll get into the Watcher's Eye here in a minute, but if you don't have Vitality, life on hit, you don't need to use Vitality at all. We just need a low level 1 so that we can take advantage of life on hit. And then we just have a level 3 Enlighten to make sure we can, fit everything in. In our gloves, we have Life Tap, Plague Bear, Flame Dash, and Enhance. You could also use Empower's probably better here, to be honest, over Enhance. I'll end up probably switching that over. So originally I did have Empower and Enhance here, but I needed Life Tap. I was just mana is a little bit of a concern because again, we do put -3 on both of these. We only have a 4 mana cost, but our attack speed is so high that even though it's only costing 4 mana, that you need a lot to deal with it. And as you can see, our mana now looks pretty good with everything that we have. We've kind of figured it out, and then we don't have to worry about it too much. So, but we do want it to have some mana cost because we want to take advantage of damage while leeching, attack speed while leeching, and stuff like that. And you'll see that when we get into the tree. So we don't want it to be 0 cost. We do want it to cost something. Because we want to be able to take advantage of some leech, even though we don't do big hit damage, we get attack speed and stuff like that while leeching. So that's that. And then as far as our boots, we just have more duration, molten shell, cast when damage taken, withering step. This is kind of a whatever thing. I just have this on there because if I take a hit, withering step is only on for a second, but it'll throw some wither stacks out, and it kind of is what it is. So this is also an unnecessary. You could probably find something better for here, depending on how much mana you have available. Maybe like Void Spear or something like that. Pull everything in, or something like that. But again, withering step is kind of mad. It's just a quick pop of a couple wither stacks if I get hit. So that's that. I think we went over all of this stuff, so that's pretty good. And like I said, I did want to go over some alternatives. So originally I was using, before I was using the ring, I was actually using Dark Ray Vectors, and then I had resistances and stuff on another ring. But you do get another Frenzy Charge. You get a ton of movement speed once you have, good Frenzy Charge, 6, 7, whatever it is, 8. I think you can get, I think I was up to 9 when I was using these. Now I only have 8. But again, if you have 9, that's 45% movement speed. You get a little resistances and, some evasion per frenzy and stuff like that. So this is a good alternative. If you can use a rare belt, again, if you're using these, feel free to use a rare belt. Olesia's Delight is a good alternative for damage. This is like if you just want to do more bossing or something and you don't necessarily care as much about movement speed and things like that. You do get some movement speed out of this. But Mage Blood is just it's just so much. I have movement speed. I should have done flasks. All increase effect, resistances, movement speed, and then reduced effect of curses, progenesis, and then life with recovery applied instantly and bleed. And then again, sorry to get back to this. The belt that changes your frenzies into affliction, but if you use Ralakesh and Patience, you count as having maximum frenzy charges. So even though your frenzy charges have been converted to affliction charges, you still count as having maximum frenzy charges, so you still can take advantage of snake bites and other benefits of having frenzy charges. So if you do use this, you probably want to use Ralakesh. And then again, if you're not using Mage Blood, the Poisonberry Tincture is pretty powerful. The game's lagging. Weird. Is pretty powerful, and again, a nice alternative for kind of burning down bosses and things like that. So you do have a few options, different price levels. Again, Mage Blood is not essential, but it is really nice. Obviously, those of you that have used it, you know how good it really is, and it's just kind of good on almost every single build in the game, and just adds a lot to it. So if you can afford it, I recommend Mage Blood. But again, some cheaper alternatives: Rare Belt. Olesia's for affliction charges, and then again, if you're using this, I do recommend Ralakesh's and Patience. Lastly, let's get into and we will go over the mercs as well. So this is not lastly. We'll do the mercs that I'm using. So this is our tree. Nothing crazy here. Again, if you're leveling with Roots Poisonous Concoction, or you already have a build or whatever, it's pretty self-explanatory. I will go over the jewels though. So we have a massive Thread of Hope. And then that just allows us to grab some life, some attack speed, some chaos dot. We get to remove a couple points and still get our suppression. So kind of nice, probably the least essential of the rest of these. Then we're using Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame with Avidity. That's going to give us an additional frenzy charge and accuracy per frenzy and stuff like that. These are pretty cheap. They're like a divine a piece. So 2 divines, you can get both of these and you get an additional frenzy charge. Cluster jewels, we're using Axe and Sword with Feed the Fury, Fuel the Flight, and Martial Prowess with some attributes. Again, it is difficult to get your attributes in this one. Once I level up one more, we'll take this life, and then we'll grab the other fuel the flight. But we have two of those. So again, attack speed, damage with ailments, attack damage leeches life. Which again, we're not necessarily as worried about the leech for the life. We're more concerned with the benefits of leeching. So that's again why you want to have a you don't want to have a 0 mana cost here. You want it to be at least a few so that you can take advantage of attack speed while leeching, damage while leeching, all that kind of stuff. Again, same thing as over here, the exact same thing, attributes, feed the fury, fuel the flight, martial prowess, so a bunch of attack speed while leeching, and attack speed, damage while leeching, etc. So the mana, again, the mana leech is good and helpful. The life leech, we just don't hit hard enough to like really take advantage of it and scale it. We just want it so that we can take advantage of all the attack speed while leeching and damage while leeching and all that stuff from our clusters. I do have a Megalomaniac. You do need to have one Blood Scent in here. You can either get it on a Megalomaniac or you can work that into one of your clusters. Again, you just need to make sure that you have one leech and one attack speed. Feed the Fury is really good, but you need to have at least one Fuel the Flight. So just make sure you have at least one of these. But again, you'll also need a Blood Scent because we get Rage. Again, you get attack damage, all that, but you get the attack speed is, or I guess it's just more attack. So more attack damage now at this point. I guess that's different than it once was. It used to be attack speed as well, right? And they also nerfed Berserk, I saw, which is, but Berserk is another option for cast when damage taken as well, even though it doesn't give you the less damage anymore. But you'll get attack speed and stuff like that. Malevolence, we have some more mana res in here, and then another martial prowess. So you might be able to find a Megalomaniac. You might have to work this into one of your clusters. It'll show up in the large. And then down here we have a Watcher's Eye. This is a pretty nice one. Chaos res, damage over time, malevolence, and life per enemy hit with vitality. So those are the two we're really looking for. If you're kind of working your way up to a good one, depending on whether you need survivability or damage. If you need damage, get the malevolence, damage over time multi. If you need survivability, get the vitality. It's really good, especially because our attack speed is so high. We hit so many enemies that it just helps us maintain our life really well. When you can afford, get both, and then for your third one, that's when you're ready to spend some real money, 60, 70, 80 divines, whatever. But you can get the two of them for like 15, I think, something like that, and you can get one of them for just a few divines, depending on whether you need survivability or damage. Here's our other Forbidden Flame. Then I do have Unnatural Instinct here. This is just, we're getting some evasion, some resistances. We get some armor. We get some attributes, which, again, like I said, we really need help with in this. So, you're getting 30 strength here. You get some mana and then a little bit of damaging ailments. So this is kind of just a generic, you get a little bit of damage, get a bit of life, a little bit of mana, and some attributes. We're just kind of getting a little bit of everything out of this, and it is helpful. I tried moving it around. It's just, honestly, the attributes kind of really are what keep me locked in here. 30 strength here, plus all the other things. It's pretty nice here. And then we have our Corrupted Blood Jewel here, just resistances and some attributes and damaging ailments. Ideally, we get life on here, but I need the resistances and I need the attributes, so that's kind of what I'm locked into currently. And then we also are using a Light of Meaning here, the Chaos damage one. These are not super expensive anymore, I don't think. Couple divines. But we're just getting, you get 6% Chaos damage for every allocated passive, and we have a lot of allocated passive here. So that's the tree. As far as the mercs, the one I'm currently using is... Yes. I couldn't click on it. Blade Bitter. And there are different versions. Mine I basically use him as an aura bot and a curse bot, I guess. Grace, kind of nice. And Wither. We also want our Merc to have some way to inflict Wither. So curses we get out of Azaneth's Gentle Touch, and then I also put Cospri's Will, which just guarantees poison on hit. And then also you can hexes can affect hexproof enemies and additional curse. So with these two items, we can curse everything, whether they're hexproof or not. And then you're also you're also poisoning. So even if you don't have a poison character or merc, we also use the rings that then chill based on poison and all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty cool little guy. We use Immortal Flesh just for the life regen, and the mana regen doesn't really matter, but the life regen's really nice, just helps keep them alive. But this is, sorry to go back, Azanaths with Despair on hit, and then we just, make sure they get all their resistances and energy shield and stuff like that. Paraquil's Toe just to make our damage lucky. Again, I'm not necessarily concerned with this, with him doing a ton of damage. I want him to apply hexes, and I want him to apply wither stacks, and then ideally give me some sort of aura. I'm getting grace out of him, so I think that grace gets us like 56 or 57% chance to evade when our merc is around. So, and the Call of the Void, Ice Fang, again, just a rare helmet, and then just physical damage, because these are all physical converts, or, So, again, Wither, auras, curses. That's what we want here. I'll do a quick little one of these, just so you can pause the video if you kind of want to take a look a little more specifically at what I was looking for. It's a little fast, but I'm assuming you guys can deal with it. So the other option that I like for the merc, why can't I click on what's going on here? Is this one. And again, what I would use is just same belt and just rare boots, just to make sure that resistances and everything are sorted out. But Paraquil's Toe, we use Dodge's Damning for our additional curse. And then she has Despair and Envy, which is a really nice aura. This just gives us chaos damage. And then, again, we want them to Wither, so her Soul Rend has Wither. And you can also find one that has Wither Totem, which is really good. But this is the other option that I really, really like. And again, you can, kind of move these around a little bit, but they all use Azanath's Touch, and we get all of our auras and our curses from our mercs. And then I'll do we do use Dying Breath, and this just juices up the aura and the hexes and everything. And then Leer Cast, because that makes us do more damage, so kind of nice. But otherwise, it's just pretty standard stuff here. And I'll do a quick little one of these. You can pause it if you want to see what we're using here. Again, Wither. We want Wither stacks. We have such high attack speed that we're getting pretty good Wither stacks, but this just helps guarantee our 15 Wither stacks a little bit easier when our merc is also applying them. So that's that. That's the merc. I think. Oh, we'll do Pantheon. I use Soul of Lunaris. And then I also use Soul of Rislatha, just because enemies you hit recently have 50% life regeneration rate, which is pretty nice. I do want to say this is how I get my stun avoidance. I use the Tattoo of the Cisalio Tide Shifter. We use, I think we need 8 of them, and then you get a little bit out of here. You get 28% here. So 7, you need 7 avoid being stuns. On decks to cap out avoid to get stun avoidance, and I think that's that. So if you want to see my Atlas tree, I will give you that real fast. If you guys want, I have the scarabs and all that stuff that I use for my strongbox strat in the previous video. It's just a raw map. You can kind of watch the raw map gameplay and just see a T17 being ran if you want. But this is the tree. And again, I've made a lot of my money just running strong boxes. You drop a lot of divines, Valdos, reliquary keys, etc., and then a bunch of scarabs and all that kind of stuff. So this is a strong box scarab currency farm. Again, refer to the previous video if you want to see the scarabs that I use, or just even a raw gameplay of this video. The voice just cracked, and you know what? We'll go ahead and finish the video with that. I'll put all the POBs in the description. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that kind of stuff. I appreciate you guys, and work has been winding down a bit, so I will start streaming again more, and then by the time Path 2 comes around, I will be fully back, streaming and making content and all that. I've just been super busy with work. So again, like, subscribe, especially for the earlier voice crack, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.